Hi everybody, Cynthia, the Sassy Surrogate here. So this video today is I have been told to start my estrogen. So this video today is going to be administering the deltestosterone, which is estrogen, and also I'm going to do my Lupron injection because I have to do that today anyway. So what I'm going to do, since it's my first time for this cycle, is I'm actually going to pre-draw a bunch of syringes of my estrogen. And the reason why I'm going to do that, I'll tell you right now, but then I'll show you a little bit when I'm doing it, is because one, it makes it easier when you're busy to just grab your syringe that you need to do an alcohol swab and do your injection and you're done. The other reason is because I was finding through my other surrogacy cycles that since you're drawing up your medication with a fatter needle, that way it draws up quicker, the more you do it, the more holes are in the stopper, and I've actually had fluid start to come out of the vial because there's so many holes, so it starts to leak. So I'll show you how it doesn't leak when you pre-draw. So I will move you down right here to my supply area, and I told you guys that I would show you last time one of the type of information sheets they give me. So here's for the estrogen. They actually put a little booty on here and tell you what to do. This medical assistant actually has it really well done over here. And then this is the needle that or the syringe that you're supposed to use. So this is some of the instructions. And then the other paper I have here, which I don't normally print out, but I just printed it out for you guys. This huge calendar here is my schedule of medications. Look at all those. So some of these I've already done because she did it late and sent it to me late. And then here's more of them. So all of these is some of my medications, being a surrogate. And once again, people ask me, why do you have to take medications when you're a surrogate? It's so you trick your body into thinking that it's pregnant. That way when they put the embryo inside you, your body won't expel it like a foreign object. So being in the medical field for a long time, that's kind of my way of putting it. Alright, so those are out of the way. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out the supplies that it says that I need for the estrogen injections. I already have pre-drawn my Lupron because I've been taking these, so it's still in the same little kit. And they were all very cleanly pre-drawn in this little baggie inside the box, all nice and clean. So I'll get that out in a second when I'm done, so that way it doesn't make a mess. So these are the syringes exactly like it showed in the little paper. So when you're new, these papers are helpful. So you want the one that has the 0.1, 0.2, point all of that, and that's what this one is. Sorry if that's blurry. Alrighty, so and I only have to do these ones every 3 days. So what I think I'll do is I'll just, I'll pre-draw 5 of them, because why not? 5 is a good number, right? And so I'm a very organized person, so I'll put my syringes back in my bag that I went over in one of my other videos. This bag has been with me through all my surrogacies. It was one of my little craft bags, but it's perfect for, and I didn't show this part last time. So here's my alcohol swabs. Here's one of some of my needles, and 2x2s that I have gauze. They didn't send this to me. This time I got it from last surrogacy and saved it. Then some of my syringes are in here. Over here is where I keep the boxes of medication. So that one right there was my progesterone, but I don't start that yet. Then the intrametrium is the progesterone inserts. Let's see if I have anything over here. I think I do. Oh, just a sterile bag. So that's what's in that one there. Okay. So these ones don't have needles on them, so I'm going to get just one 18 gauge needle. So you always draw up with a big needle because it makes it faster to be able to get fluid through. And I'll get out 2 alcohol swabs, one to clean me and one to clean the vial. And then after that, make sure, yes. So after I draw up with the 18, then I'm going to attach to the syringe a smaller needle, which is the 22. Tristan's trying to come over here. Chubby Wubby. What was that? So you'll draw up the syringes, but then you'll attach a 22 gauge needle, which is smaller, to go into the back of your hip. So there's 5 of them here, I believe. 2, 3, 4, 5. So those are all ready. So I have my vials here ready. Let's see if I can get this down any lower. Maybe back a little. Okay, so my alcohol swab for me and the vial. Let's take that out. I haven't used it yet, so it's still in the box. And you can even keep it in the box later. Look how big this insert is. The insert of information on this is so big, it takes up like most of the box. Look at that. Well, makes it so it doesn't shake around at least. So there's that one. All right, so we're gonna draw up with this one. And what I can do is get all these ready. What I kind of like to do is just keep them in their plastic, because why not? Anything that we can do to keep it cleaner is better. And also too, like I've said before, I know where my body's been. I know where these injections are going. I actually did sterilize my counter even before I started to pre-draw. So since this one's closed, it has here the metal stopper still on it. So you're just gonna kind of put your finger underneath there and it'll lift it up, and it's metal. So that will come off. You don't need to put that back on. And then there's the rubber stopper. That's what we'll put the needle into. The trash can's right down here. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna open our 18 gauge needle. Tristan keeps trying to drive me crazy. See, this is his crazy face. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna clean that vial. If you don't pre-draw, you do want to clean this every time. You don't know what's touched it, and you don't want to push bacteria through the stopper when you inject the needle into it. Okay, so once again, I'm opening the 18 gauge needle, which these are pink. We talked about that in my other video. Medical supplies are often color-coded. And the first time I draw this up, I don't need to aspirate air into the vial. When you further on in my other ones, I am going to want to, if I'm injecting or drawing up 2 cc's or 0.2 cc's of medication, I will actually go to that amount, push that much air into the vial, because I'm putting in that much air because I'm taking that much fluid out. Otherwise it'll create a suction, and next time you go in, there'll be like negative space kind of, and it won't let you get the medication out. And so I'll inject air into it next time. So what I'm going to do here, let me get my little vials in a row. So I'm going to put it in there. See how fat this needle is? Luckily, this needle does not ever go inside you. But you can see here how much space it takes up in the stopper. It takes up a lot of the top of that. And that, injecting this fat needle in there multiple times, will definitely create a lot of holes. So you can see the needle's in there. I'm going to draw it up till it says to 0.2, and this one is pretty thick, so it's going in there really slow. So you can pull back a whole bunch, let some come in, and then let the air go out. You're going to see, look at that big huge air bubble. So we're going to wait for that to get to the top. And this is part of the reason too you can bring a whole bunch of the medication in there, because most of it is going to be air at first. Okay, and so what I do since I pre-draw, and I'm going to leave this needle in there, is I'll put it a dot or two above the 0.2 that they want me to take, because some of this is going to be stuck in the stopper. I've learned that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to twist this off and leave the needle in there. So then, with the proper needle that I'm going to use, I'm going to put that on here, and it's ready to go. And for cleanliness, I myself will just leave the wrapper on top of the syringe, and that one is ready to go. So then, with the stopper in there, I'm going to take another syringe, and what I'm going to do this time is actually draw to the 0.2 so I can inject that air into it, put it on, twist it, inject the air in, Flip it upside down and make sure the top of the needle is not all the way up here, because then you're just going to be drawing air. Okay, so once again, very, very thick. That's why this can be painful to inject. Lots of air because there was air in the needle. So now we have to wait for that to big old air bubble to go up to the top. Okay, and now since it's going up to the top a little bit, we can push it back into there. And then just draw up to a couple dots above the point 2. Upside down. And twist that needle. And put on the proper one. And then, of course, I'm sorry I forgot to mention this on the last one, you can either do it now or before you inject yourself. You're going to want, since now there's air in this needle, you're going to want, let's see, to push the medication through. There, see that? A little bit will come out. That way you're not injecting air into yourself. So if you can remember to do that before each injection, you don't have to do it now. If you think you can be forgetful, go ahead and push that through now. And I'll put that back in a little cover, because like I said, why not? And I'll do that with my other one. Since I'm doing the video, I don't want to be forgetful later. Okay, a little dot of fluid. And what I'm doing there, I'm just dabbing it on the alcohol swab. Okay, I'll put that back. Okay, so we have 2 done. And taking a few extra minutes to do this one night will save a lot of time all the other times that you have to do your estrogen or your Lupron or your progesterone. Okay, so we're going to draw this one up. Wait, got to put point 2 in there. Twist it back on. Squirt some air in there, flip it upside down. And like I said, the estrogen you only have to do every 3 days. The Lupron is every day, and then once it gets to the point of needing progesterone, that will normally be every day as well. Okay, take that off. Get the new one. And this just, it's kind of loose right here. And so you just kind of pull it open like this. And you take that and just screw it on. I can push that air through, so I know I've done it with all of them this time, since I'm showing it. So on my last video when I did the Lupron, I actually paused for a second and kind of got scared because I had totally forgotten that I did that very first Lupron injection from this cycle on live camera. And so I had totally forgotten that I hadn't injected myself for about 1.5 years since my last surrogacy, so I kind of got scared for a second. But right when I did that video for Lupron, I actually started feeling dizzy immediately during that video. I started feeling dizzy and tingly. I actually had to sit down as soon as the video was over. Me and Lupron do not have a great relationship. Lupron is probably one of the worst things about doing surrogacy. A couple days ago, I almost thought about doing a video, but I knew that I would look absolutely horrible because all of me hurt. So this time I'm having most of the side effects of Lupron. I'm not having as many headaches as I did the first time I was on Lupron. I had headaches like 24 hours a day. You get brain fog, you get dizzy. They say Lupron makes you loopy, and that's the official saying for Lupron. Probably not from the manufacturers, of course. But it's a vicious cycle for me right now because my muscles hurt, my joints hurt, my entire body hurts, I'm exhausted. But when I go to sit down, I'm very, very aware that all of me hurts. And so then I want to get up and do something because sitting there is driving me crazy. But all I want to do is sit down because I'm so tired. So it's like this vicious cycle. So I'll try to get up and do something every once in a while to make my muscles move and kind of make me not aware that everything hurts. I've also been having hot flashes this time, which really, really suck. So I'll just be sitting somewhere or doing something and I just get this wave of like heat and start sweating a little bit. And one of the times I was working out, so working out right now, running is really hard for me. My legs turn into like tree trunks and they don't want to go anywhere, but I really try to push through it. when I was working out the other day, I told myself to work out. My brain didn't want to, my body didn't want to, but I did it. And then when I ran 20 or 25 minutes, I was able to push myself to run. And then when I went to lift, I was still able to lift pretty heavy, but it was weird because when I got near the ends of my reps, when of course you're supposed to be struggling a little bit, if you're not struggling a little bit, then you're probably not lifting heavy enough. Tristan, get down. When I got to those further along reps, I started getting mini hot flashes and mini cold flashes on those last ones, probably because I was pushing my body. Heather from one of my other videos asked me, she's like, I know you love working out and it's important to you, but do you think you could take it easy and not work out right now? And I was like, no. It's my one addiction, and my body's going to hurt whether I work out or not. And so might as well still work out. I'm like, I'm not pregnant yet. I have no excuse to get fat. So that's been my Lupron experience so far. So I'll get to finishing drying up these. I already drew up the air. And so we've already saved so many holes in this stopper of this big fat needle just by keeping one needle in it and pre-drawing a little bit. Get that air bubble in there. Now we can push it out. Bye-bye, air bubble, go away. Okay. About right there. Got my needle open. Okay. So also another side effect of Lupron is it can delay your period, which is just awful because they want you to have a period. It makes no sense to me, and I've told everybody this. It's really frustrating. They want you to have a period to get rid of your uterine lining so then they can go and build your uterine lining back up with fake chemical hormones. Makes no sense, but I guess that's the way it is. So they're actually trying to delay my transfer now and postpone it because my period was late. But it's the Lupron's fault my period was late. So I'm trying to tell them, please, you know, if we can keep it the day it was supposed to be, let's keep it. The intended father, which is the parent of this baby, has already rescheduled his flight from China once. He really, really wants to be there, and therefore I want him to be able to be there. And I told them, you know, if we can, please just monitor me. Let's see how everything is going before we decide to delay, because that would be really inconsiderate to the father. And I took this needle out this time because now we're done pre-drawing. So I'll recap that very carefully. And then, oh, let me pull that back actually because there was some medication in the needle that time. Okay, so that one's off. Open my needle here. And a lot of doctors, if they're doing injections like every day in the medical field, they definitely pre-draw too. They just label with a little sticky every single one they do, like what's in it, and they only pre-draw day by day. Like when I worked in ortho and they did cortisone injections for people with painful joints, they would go through those like crazy. And so what they did was the MA or ortho tech would pre-draw a bunch of medications in certain doses, and he would just take which one that he needed, and it made his life so much more efficient. Alrighty, so now I'm going to do my injections, and of course I'll be nervous to do my estrogen because this is the first time in a year and a half I've done this one. So let me get out my Lupron too. So pre-draw my Lupron, so those are all there ready for me. And this one, there's a bunch in there, like I said, because these ones you take every day. Close that back up, put it back in my box so it's all organized. And I can use that other bag for my pre-drawn, the one that was in that pocket. We didn't know what was in there. So what I can do is put these other ones. I'm going to use this one. Seems like a lucky one. We'll use that one. And then put the other ones in this bag. And then put that in my bag over here. And let me get my little sharps container so you guys can see that. Alrighty, it's my little cute little sharps container. And I'll show you a trick to this too, so these don't get too full. So put that over there. Alright, you guys, I'm getting scared now. Let's all this stuff away. Okay, so that needle that I took off, I'll put in my sharps container. And then I'll start cleaning everything. So I'm pulling this down too because I'm doing the back of my hips. I'm going to be doing both of these today. So you're going to see a little bit of butt. Nobody make fun of me. Okay, so I'm going to clean. We'll do over here because last night I did this side. I'll clean this one. And then for better light, I will do this side back here. And so, like, I'll show you again. What it wants you to do is it says, the instructions say break your body up into quadrants. So, meaning put a line here and a line above your booty crack, a line down the middle of your booty cheek, and you're kind of going to go to the side. I've not been given directions to go this far to the side, so I'm going to kind of do between here and here, like what's comfortable. Of course, I'm going to clean like the whole area. Okay, and I'll let that dry. And then I already cleaned this side, so this one's ready. So once again, this is the Lupron. And the reason why they might give you this one is to stop your ovulation. So this makes sure your eggs are all the way not in the picture whatsoever, which I feel, yeah, that's great for like a married couple or somebody with a boyfriend, but I'm like, hey, I'm not seeing anybody, completely single, no action going on here. Can you please not put me on Lupron because it sucks? And they're like, no, you're going on Lupron. So I was like, okay. So once again, little teeny tiny needle, and this is the first one that you do. So it's a good warm-up one. So you just squeeze right here, try to find some fat, and squeeze right there. And it's quick and it doesn't really hurt. So inject that in there. Unless it won't go. There we go. Okay, I let it go before I pull it out. I do recap my needles, but like I said, I know where they go. So this one, the needle is connected to the syringe. So you don't remove the needle to draw up and put a new one on. And it also means that the whole thing you have to put in the sharps container. So that has to go in there. So putting a whole syringe in here can definitely make those fill up very quickly. Okay, big needle time, guys. Okay, so I'm bringing you a little bit closer. Okay, so big needle here, big booty here. Cue big booty music. All my friends already know. Okay, so big fat needle. It's going to come back here, and so like I said before in another video, you want to do it harder than you think, because if you don't do it hard enough, it's not going to go in. So kind of turn, and they want it like over here, and that's where I cleaned. So I'm going to go. Yes, I felt that. Okay, I put it in slowly because the needle's already in. No use going fast. Okay. You want to get it all the way in, so you're almost touching it with the tip of the thing. Then what you want to do is, this is called aspirating. So you're going to draw back, make sure no blood comes into the vial. If it does, it means you hit a nerve. So there's nothing there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to inject slowly, because this is a very thick fluid. The slower you inject, the easier it actually is, because you're giving your muscle time to expand. Okay, so it's all the way in. You might see a little bit of blood. I'll get one of my gauze, because luckily I have them from last time, like I said. And I'll draw that up, and I can even leave it there and put my pants back on. Alright, so that's my first estrogen injection, and you saw the Lupron injection. And I actually do not feel that now at all, but you can rub it just to make sure you really get that medication going in there. So yeah, that was this little video on doing my first estrogen injection. And tips on recapping your needle. What you can do if you're scared about it is you can just go in like this. And my tip for disposing of these, because these little sharp containers do fill up really quickly when you're using a needle, a syringe this big, The needle does need to be disposed of in a sharps container. The syringe does not. So what you can do is take that needle off, put the needle in there. This is perfectly fine to go in the trash. There's nothing toxic on it, nothing hazardous, nothing sharp. So it could totally go in the trash and it's done. And that will save you a lot of space. As you can see, this is pretty darn full already, and this is just Lupron needles because I just started estrogen with you right now. All right, so that is all done. And thanks for watching, you guys. I have lots of other videos on here to help out surrogates and intended parents with some information. And just going over lots of stuff about surrogacy. I hope you guys have a great night. Like my videos, subscribe. I would love to see my subscribers go up. I had 4, now I have 6. So let's get those numbers up. Thanks, guys, and have a great night.